Pastor Doug here from Crossroads. It's great to be with you. I hope that today's message will draw you closer to Jesus.
Crossroads, it's great to be with you today. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been approaching families in our church, and I've been asking the parents, the teenagers, the kids, the same question. Are you excited for school to start again? Are you ready to get back into that routine? And so from my observation, about 90% of parents gave me a resounding yes. I am ready. It is time for school to start again. Now, you might not be surprised that the kids, the teenagers, it would want to say it was less than 90% that had a very firm yes, we're ready to get started to go to school again. And I get it. I remember those days as a parent of young children where, man, you were just ready for routine again. But I also can really think back to those years as a student. And I didn't want summer to end. I didn't want to go back into that routine. The freedom that came with summer, I just wanted to continue to embrace that. And I hope you've had an amazing summer. You filled it with a lot of great memories. But I wouldn't be surprised that if along the way, there were maybe some disagreements, maybe even some fights that occurred throughout the summer. So I thought today I would talk about how to fight with your family. Because we all need help in figuring out how to fight better with our family. I think back to Denise and I when we were newly married. This was probably like 34 and a half years ago. We were college students at Penn State, newlyweds, and I remember one of our very first fights. It was cold, it was winter. I can see the apartment, I can smell the apartment, and I remember I had on this coat. Because we were in the midst of a fight and I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to leave. You know, it was all escalation. There was nothing positive happening. And this coat meant a lot to me because it was one of the last things that my mother bought for me before I left, before I got married. And I went to go down those stairs to leave the apartment, and Denise reached out. She grabbed the hood of that coat and just ripped. The coat just ripped. It was bad. Now, this is a great time for me to display my emotional maturity early in marriage, right? I didn't even know what emotional maturity meant when I was 20 years old. And I stormed back to our bedroom, tiny one-bedroom. I stormed back to our bedroom, and there was this stuffed bunny sitting on this wicker chair on the floor. And I picked up the stuffed bunny, and I threw it across the room. And then I stomped on the wicker chair and just put it into shreds. Now, as we think back and we talk about that fight, one of the things is that for the life of us, neither of us can remember what that fight was about. We can remember the fight, we can see it, we can smell the apartment, but we don't remember what that fight was about. So I thought, man, with my experiencing of fighting with family, and then with all of my years of, counseling people who are in relational conflict, I would tell you how to fight with your family. And I came up with a list. It could have been a lot longer, but these are some of the things that just quickly came to my mind. If you're looking to how to fight with your family, man, just put these things into action. You will nail it again and again and again. There will be no peace in your home. Love will be limited. Joy will just get sucked out like a Dyson vacuum cleaner. It'll just be gone. So if you want to fight with your family, don't actively listen. When the other person is talking, think about what you want to say next, how you want to jab, how you want to poke. Maybe you want to get all historical, remind them of what they did 20 years ago, whatever like that. But whatever you do, don't actively listen. Don't stay calm. Come on, just go like all volcano in the moment or all iceberg in the moment, whichever your go-to is. But don't stay calm. Don't stay rational. You don't want to do that. Don't use empathy. Don't take that long walk of empathy where you're trying to understand their point of view. You're trying to understand why they feel the way they feel, why they think the way they think. Don't do that. Don't use any empathy. Don't look for the things you have in common or agree about. Instead, focus on everything you don't agree about. Focus on all the disagreements, the way you view things different. That's where your energy, that's where your focus should be. Don't create a safe space. Make sure that your family knows that there are certain conversations that there are certain topics that can never be touched. Your home is not a safe place for those kind of things. Your family group is not a safe place for that kind of stuff. You just never have those conversations. And then whatever you do, don't get to the root of the conflict or the problem. Just keep it, with the issue at hand. That will ensure that you continue to have the same fight for just not years, but for decades to come. Don't ever get to the root. And then how about this one? Never get professional help. There are many things I don't understand. Why people are so obsessed with pumpkin spice coffee drinks at this time of the year. But something else that I don't understand is why whenever there's a problem with your car, you'll take it to a professional mechanic. When your refrigerator stops cooling, you'll call a professional. But when there's a hiccup or something going on in your marriage or your relationship with your friends or your kids, where there's conflict that seems to be happening over and over again, never get professional help. So if you do these things, I guarantee you will be able to fight with your family, man, for the rest of your life. That's if their family lasts that long. But you'll be able to fight with your family for the rest of your life. And I could go on, but I thought, maybe that's not the best use of our time this morning. Maybe I shouldn't focus on how to fight with your family, that instead we should talk about how to fight for your family. Last week we talked about how to fight for your faith. This morning, let's talk about how to fight for your family. A starting question I would have for everyone, whatever your family group looks like, if you're married, if you have kids that are young or adult children, if your family group is really your friend group, whatever your family looks like, my question for you would be this. Does your family know that you are for them? That you absolutely want what is best for them? You want them to succeed. You want them to thrive. You want them to mature. You want them to grow. You are for them. Do they know that? Do they understand that beyond a shadow of doubt? They know that you are for them. Because this is something, we won't fight for anything that isn't a priority in our life. We won't fight for things that we don't really value. We'll just coast along. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the energy. We'll just go along in our family with whatever may be, but we certainly won't fight for our family because we're really not for our family. So what's important to you? What's a priority to you? What's worth fighting for you? In the book of Nehemiah, the city of Jerusalem is in disrepair. The walls are torn down. And God raises up this leader named Nehemiah who sees the problem. He sees what was once a great city and a great people, and he has a burden for it. He cares for them. He wants what is best for them. So he gathers them, and he has this desire to rebuild the wall, to bring them back to glory, to health of where they once were. Now, along the way, there comes opposition. There's external opposition. There are people on the outside looking in and saying, they can't or shouldn't do this. We will attack them. We will kill them while they're trying to rebuild. But it's just not that external opposition that Nehemiah faces. It's internal opposition as well. There are people on the inside that are just tired of the hard work. They're tired of all the rubble. It's just too much work. We can't do this. We'll never be successful. And Nehemiah has to face this trouble, this external trouble, and this internal trouble. And this is what he does in Nehemiah chapter 4. Then as I, Nehemiah, looked over the situation, I called together the nobles and the rest of the people, and I said to them, don't be afraid of the enemy. Remember the Lord who is great and glorious, and fight. Fight for your brothers, fight for your sons, fight for your daughters, fight for your wives, and fight for your homes. In other words, Nehemiah said, come on, it's just not worth it to me. It's not just that I am for you. This is so worth it. This is so important. This is such a priority that all of us need to fight for what is important to us. And he brought all of the people together. Whenever you decide to fight for your family, whenever you decide to make your family a priority, that they are worth the effort, you will have external and internal opposition. External, we don't need to go into details, but man, you know that there are cultural forces, there are social forces, there are economic forces, spiritual forces, and moral forces that are fighting against your enemy. They are your external enemy. But internal, you'll face opposition from the inside. You'll face opposition from family members. You decide to do something that you know is healthy for your family, but it is new and something that has not been your normal. So maybe it's like right now, all of the phones are allowed at the table all the time. And you're having dinner together and nobody's really communicating to other. Everybody's on their phones. And there's a new rule in the house because you're fighting for your family. So it's no more phones at the dinner table. Do you think you'll face just a little bit of internal opposition? Huge. People will throw fits. It'll be awful. Maybe you don't even eat around the table together as a family, and that's how you're going to fight for your family. And everyone's used to being able to go and do their own thing, eat at their own time. Maybe you're going to have a family night once a week because you know that is what is best for your family. But you've not done that for the past 8 years, and oh my words, the internal opposition. But it's just not other family members. It'll happen from yourself, right? You'll be like, nobody even appreciates my efforts. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth the heartache and the pain, and you'll want to just give up. No family, whatever your family unit is, no family gets healthy by accident. No family is healthy just by coasting along. We always coast downhill. We never coast uphill. So healthy relationships, a healthy marriage, healthy friends, healthy family, it takes hard work. But it can be some of the most fun, hard work that you will ever do. And the long-term gain is always worth the short-term pain. It's hard to push through that short-term pain, but the long-term gain is always worth the short-term pain. So I thought I'd give you just a few things of how to fight for your family. I'm not going to give you all the things that you've heard before. I think you know you should be praying for your family, praying with your family, and there's a lot of great things that you already know to do. But let's see if I can give you some things that you might not have heard of before that you don't think about all the time. So I already said make sure they know you are for them, deal directly with internal and external opposition. But here's one. Maybe you didn't see this one coming. Have fun together. Have fun together. Most of us like to have fun. I will not point out any killjoys in the room. And most of us like to be together with the people that we love, the people that we consider our family. I want to point us to the book of Ecclesiastes. And if you've not read that before, man, that was one of the first books I fell in love with as a young adult. I just couldn't consume it fast enough. But if you're familiar with the book, you know that those first 11 chapters, the author's talking a lot about life as meaningless. I'm not going to get into all those details, but man, there are some bright spots along that journey. There are some words of wisdom that he gives along those first 11 chapters before he really brings it all together in chapter 12. And there's some things that we can learn. In Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 15, he says this, "So I recommend having fun, because there is nothing better for people in this world than to eat, drink, and enjoy life. That way they will experience some happiness along with all the hard work God gives them under the sun." Some of you have been on the other side of one of my go-to questions. If it's one of the first times we've met, or we're talking about, you stepping into a new role, or I'm just digging in, I will often ask the question, what do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? And often people look at me like, is that a question a pastor is supposed to ask? Most people don't know. Don't tell them. They'll keep it our secret. That question is rooted in theology. Because when you don't know how to have fun, you're missing out on part of what God has blessed you with, your life, your family. So what do you and your family do to have fun together? Everybody's family looks different, like I said. Maybe it's young kids, maybe your kids are 40 years old, maybe it's your friend group as your family, maybe it's your siblings. But what do you do for fun? Whenever our kids were younger, my wife, in all of her wisdom, she instituted that family night early on. So we always had a family night, almost always every Friday night. And we'd be around the table, there would be food, but we played a lot of games. Once in a while, we'd go out to a movie, and those were things that we did to have fun on a very regular basis. Now, I could add to that list, and I could say one of the things that we did for fun, we went for a lot of bike rides. And we did go for a lot of bike rides, but not everybody would call that fun. Not everybody enjoyed that part. So I cannot tell you that was part of our list. I could tell you that I can make part of my list, something that we did together for fun as a family, is we did house projects. I would get excited when it was mulch day, and we all were doing mulch together. Nobody else thought that was fun, so I cannot add that to my list. And now that my daughters are adults, it was about less than 2 weeks ago, 6 of us were together. And what did we do for fun? We were all around the table again, enjoying good food, really good conversation, and we were playing games. And once in a while, we'll still go to a movie together. But there are some go-to things that we do for fun. But what about you? This is our family worship Sunday, so I want to get a little bit of feedback from you. Doesn't matter what your age is. What is your family group? What do you do for fun together is that key word. What do you do for fun together? I'd love to hear from, anybody that's a kid. I'd like to hear from anybody that's in their 70s and everywhere in between. Come on. What do you do for fun? Can anybody help me out? Can I get anyone to share some information? What do you do for fun? Do you get what these words of wisdom are all about? Is there something you do for fun together? Who? Give me a little wave and I'll look towards you. You are not boring people. I can even start pointing out and saying what you do for fun. Jaden, thank you for helping a man out.
We do family game night.
Family game night, that's wonderful. Do you have any favorite games you play right now?
Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride, very nice. That's one of our go-to games, yeah. Great stuff. So family game night. Somebody else, what do you do for fun? Share your wealth of information with everybody else. Don't leave them hanging. Yes, what do you do? Festivals? Go to festivals is a fun thing you do together. Outstanding. I heard something over here, way over here. Come on. What do you do for fun? Watch movies. Is there a specific genre or just whatever's current? Just whatever's good. All right, watch movies together. That's outstanding. Nella, you got something to tell me? Bike. You go on bike rides. Very, very nice. Oh, now the hands are coming up. Come on. What do you do for fun?
Go to the creek for fun.
Go to the creek? And swim and fish. Oh, such great stuff. I love that. I see more hands back here. Come on. What do you do for fun?
Go to round one.
Go to?
Round one.
Oh, round one. Oh, it's like mini golf, things like that? Or no, what's round one? Arcade. Oh, at the mall. I've been there before. Oh, yes. Now that's a lot of fun. Did I hear? Yes, come on.
Fishing with the grandkids.
Fishing with the grandkids. Making great memories, having fun together. Gary? Camping in a tent. Yes, fun together. Inspirational, yes. In the very back, is that Rachel's hand? What was that? Oh, look at the stars. Oh, man, if you get a night where it is clear and all that kind of stuff. One last one. Come on. What do you do for fun? You bike? Hike. Yes, outstanding. Love to do that. See, you have fun together. And if you were looking for a homework assignment from today's sermon, you could just say that. Come on. Tomorrow, we're going to figure out what it takes for us to have fun together. If you haven't already done that yet this weekend, what does it look like for you to have fun with your family group? Oh, a side note, in our nation, the top 2 answers when you ask kids what you do for fun with your family. Number 1, play board games. Number 2, go to a park, like get outside, throw the ball, that kind of stuff. So those are the top two. But there are two things that often keep us from having fun. Because sometimes I ask the question, what do you do for fun? And you look at me like a deer in the headlights. Like, we got young kids. There's no time for fun, right? What do you do for fun? So there's two enemies that keep you from having fun together. The one you're not surprised to hear is busyness. There's always work. There's always household stuff that needs to be done. You're in a chauffeur stage and you're driving kids all the time. It is just a busy season of life. And the second enemy that can creep in is when we prioritize ourselves, when we prioritize the individual over the family. So I always have time to go play golf, or I always have time to get out on my one wheel. I always have time for the stuff I really want to do, but it seems like I never have time to have fun with the family. So busyness and prioritizing myself over the family are two of the enemies. Let me give you just something else from the author as he talks about fun. He goes on and he says, when people live to be very old, let them rejoice in every day of life. What's very old? 2,000 years ago, average person lived about to 25 to 30 years of life. So once you were past 35, man, you were just old. So don't think, I'm in my 40s, I don't have to worry about this. You're already old. So really enjoy every day of life. Don't waste a day. And then how about this? Young people, do some of you ever remember when you were young and what you focused on was getting older? You couldn't wait till you were blank, till you could drive, till you could do whatever else like this. But man, young people, if nobody has said this to you lately, I want you to hear these words of wisdom. It is wonderful. It is wonderful to be young. Enjoy every minute of it. Come on. You could put this scripture on your wall, right? And when mom and dad say to do the chores, you can say, well, but what about this? Well, you'll balance it out. You'll figure it out. So young people, it's wonderful to be young. Enjoy every minute of it. Do everything you want to do. Take it all in. And here's the balance. But remember that you must give an account to God for everything you do. So refuse to worry and keep your body healthy. So no matter what phase of life you are in, words of wisdom is have fun, enjoy life, embrace the life that God has given you. It's not easy, it's not perfect, but lean in and have fun together. Let's hit another one before I run out of time. How to fight for your family. Grow together. Once again, don't miss that word together. Perhaps you've heard of situations or you know somebody that was in a situation like this. Couple was married and all the effort, all the energy went to the one spouse growing in their education, growing in their experience, and the other person didn't have much of a chance to grow. And through time, they got separated so much that it harmed their relationship because you want to grow together. It's not just one person growing. Maybe you can think about it like this. Two best friends throughout junior high, throughout high school, but then they graduate and things change. One of them just sort of gets stuck living in the glory days. The other one goes on to continue to grow. And their lives look so different than just like 4 years, 8 years later. They feel like they have nothing in common. It's key to grow together in your family unit. Adult kids are having all these new ideas, or they're reading this stuff or hearing about this, and they want to talk about it with their parents, but their parents seem to have no room for anything new or to even have conversations about these things, and it harms the relationship. So you want to grow together, not to grow apart. So what kind of things do you grow in? Well, I would ask you to grow in the way that Jesus grew. In Luke 2, we're told that Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God, and in favor with all the people. So how do you grow? Those 4 areas. When you think about it, only 2 Gospels give us any insight into the birth narrative of Jesus. Only 2 Gospel writers thought the birth narrative of Jesus was that important, that it should be included in their Gospel. And if you want to try and find out information about Jesus as a 20-something or as a teenager or as a kid, there is very little for you to read. But Luke thought this was so important How Jesus grew was so important that he included it in his gospel. Sometimes we make some really bad assumptions about Jesus that leads to bad theology. Sometimes we think that Jesus just came out of Mary knowing everything, that he didn't have to grow in any way. But Jesus had to learn how to walk. Jesus had to learn how to talk. Jesus had to learn how to socialize and interact with other people. So let's go and put this into a little more detail. So what does it look like for you to grow together in your family? Not just one person, but you to grow together. You grow in wisdom. That's what we refer to as intellectual or emotional growth. You grow in stature. That's the physical growth. You grow in favor with God, spiritual growth, and you grow in favor with people. That's your social skills or your influence growth. So you learn stuff. You learn about stuff together. You learn about yourself. You help one another learn, what do you do with these emotions that come? How do you react? You help each other grow through difficult situations. You help each other learn how to know the world beyond what happens right here in our own area. You help each other grow to know God more and more. And you encourage growth along the way. What it looks like to make the wise choice. Teach one another what it looks like to lose and what it looks like to win well. You help one another grow in learning that it's okay to fail and that it's great to succeed. You give each other a bigger view of the world. You help them understand that not all countries, not all cultures are like ours. Each has their pros and cons, but man, you help people realize our strengths and the blessings that we have. You don't hide from the hard stuff of the world like homelessness or poverty or war or famine. And you make a decision to be a lifelong learner. You want to continue to grow. You want to continue to stretch. And there's so many great ways that you can learn to grow together. Let me give you one more on how to fight for your family. Help or defend each other. Help or defend each other. For the adults in the room, you'd answer the question like this. Who are your 2 a.m. people? Who is it in a crisis that you could call at 2 a.m.? Who is it that has your back? For kids, if I said, who are your 2 a.m. people, it should most likely be mom and dad or who you're going to say. But who has your back? And does your family know that you have their back no matter what? Ecclesiastes 4, this is scripture that is often used for weddings, but it's just not for weddings. 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person fails, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm, but how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. God didn't design you for isolation. God designed you for community, to do life with other people, to do life in some type of a family context. People who are for you, people who have your back, and people who know that you are for them and that you have their back. This passage continues on, and he brings in, but a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken, because he brings God into the equation. He says a family unit is wrapped around God. That's a priority. That's a core foundational piece. So there's a few ways that you can grow your family. At Camp Courageous this year, you see a lot of people wearing T-shirts. These are the things that our kids were taught over and over and over again to live it out, learning to live like Jesus lived. And he did that by loving like Jesus, being kind like Jesus, forgiving like Jesus, and serving like Jesus did. If families do this, whatever your family unit is like, if kids are doing this, if parents are doing this, if adult children are doing this, if people in your friend groups are doing this, if this is what it looks like with your siblings, this brings about huge growth as you fight for your family. And in your family today, if you see people doing any of these 4 things or any of the things I've talked about, just celebrate that. Would just call it out, point it out, make it a celebration piece on your family, for your family. But may we all know the importance of what it looks to fight for our family and to help minimize what it looks like to fight with our family. And may God be glorified in the process.
Thanks again for listening. Any step you take towards Jesus is a step in the right direction. You can find out more about us at crbic.org. That's crbic.org.